a guy down the road from us who I'm assuming at least knew of Derek, you know, and he was up pretty much the whole time yelling Derek's name. There was a couple sitting behind us who obviously came for the Eagles. They had their Eagles shirts on and stuff, and we chatted a little bit before because of the shirts that we had on. And I did ask him after the set, you know, and I said, "So what did you think?" And he said, "Just blown away, blown away." I mean, you know, to see a 12-piece band out, I mean, you know, you wouldn't see that normally for an opener to have such an expansive musicianship, you know, on the stage. So, you know, that was about all we really got to talk to. Um, you know, again, it was an Eagles crowd. You know, I mean, TTB was brought on, you know, 3 days before maybe or something. So, you know, there's just a handful of people that came for that. But I mean, when they finished their set, everybody was up. You know, everybody was standing. You know, interesting to kind of hear Midnight in Harlem be played to such a quiet audience, right? Where you know almost felt like maybe it was you know it was a show in Japan or in Europe, you know, where you're used to when you hear those you know recordings, it's you know you could almost hear a pin drop, you know, throughout the whole song. You know, where at TTB when Susan sings Midnight in Harlem, you know, there's you know big eruption. I mean, there was certainly a huge applause for Derek's solo in Midnight. It was obviously incredible as usual. And then into I Want More, into Beck's Bolero. And again, I couldn't tell from the crowd how many people knew what he was playing there at the end. You know, I couldn't really tell. But when they left the stage, I mean, everybody was standing. I mean, it just seemed to build after each song. It really did, and it just built. And I don't know. It's Ann and I, we just felt like a sense of pride in our belief in the band, and felt so happy for this opportunity for them. You know, that came. You know, at the last minute. However, it came. I don't know if there's. You know, I know there's been talk of some new management with TTB, and was there a link somewhere there with the Eagles and that, or stealing? You know, how I don't know how it came about, but just so happy for them to you know to get an opportunity to play to a big audience, you know, that wasn't their audience, right? And I mean, they just killed it. I mean, we get into Saturday night. I'll tell you a couple of stories that, you know, about what we heard from some people that had never seen the band before, that we knew and had tickets for the Eagles all along, and didn't even know that TTB was going to be the opener. And they actually called and reached out to us today to tell us about their experience. That was pretty cool. But I mean, it just was such a you know a proud move. They looked like they were really having fun. I thought the sound. I mean, I kept saying to Ann, and I said the sound sounds so full. I mean, it's a big building, and it just sounded so full. And having the screens and everything up there, it just. I mean, the you know the exposure for them was just you know phenomenal. And you saw where we were sitting was over off to the side, and we happened to be very fortunate that the band came out on that side, and they kind of went down the stage is a little elevated, and they kind of came down the steps, and there where you see the railings
Is
kind
this
of
Bobby
overlook.
right here? Bobby T's in the picture.
Yeah, I think that could be Bobby right there.
I
That
think
could be.
I
That's where
think
he was
that's
working
probably
his,
him.
yeah, his magic and everything. The Eagles were, I guess their crew was underneath the, you know, the black kind of tent setup there. But when the band came off, they kind of came off the stage, and we were kind of standing up above there, and a few of them kind of saw us up. We waved down, and they kind of looked up and saw us, and you know, it was just like wow, some familiar faces, because you know they were playing. I mean, I can't imagine there was anybody in the front rows that they could see when they were playing that they would say, "Oh, hey, there's a TTB fan." that we've seen, at the Beacon, or we've seen at, Red Rocks or whatever. You know, it was pretty much a bunch of strangers. Like I said, we had maybe a dozen friends, and we were all scattered, you know, side stage, upper deck, back, middle, different places like that. So it wasn't like you had a big group of friends up front or something like that. So it was just nice to be able to see them. And yeah, Bobby was kind enough to hand us the set list after the show, and I just quickly said to him how full I thought the sound was in a big building, and what a incredible job they did on, like I say, maybe 3 days notice, 2 days notice. I guess I don't know exactly when it all came together, but seemed like it came together on Monday, and they were playing on Thursday.
Was when you got the set list, was that after the TTB finished or after the Eagles at the end of the whole
No,
night?
after TTB.
Right.
After
You
TTB.
you went down to closer to the
Yeah, we
stage
went down
area or
just
something
to
like
kind of
that?
wave when they were coming off the stage, and then we just kind of stood there, and I mean, Bobby and Chris and I mean, they were working hard to get all their equipment off for the
Sure.
Eagles. I mean, they were hoofing it. There was a lot to be done to get TTB stuff removed, so the Eagles could get on, I guess, as soon as possible. But we were patient, and when they finished, I don't know, it took them 15, 20 minutes. Bobby did kind of come over and said, really appreciate y'all coming, and handed us a couple. It wasn't like usual where you're fighting for a list with, 100 people or 50 people up at the front. There weren't people necessarily clamoring, so we were fortunate, and he just handed us two of them. So, we just each had one. So took a shot. That was just right out, during the set break right there is when we took that picture.